head again. You had your heart set on me, but these feels, they come and go, and they come so easily. Tell me what it is about you that I can't forget, but you're breaking down my walls again, just to set me free. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling? Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never love the feeling?
Hey everyone, Manos here. We're gonna be live here in just a second. I'm making sure that everything is good to go. Thanks for all the kind wishes and stuff in chat. We'll go ahead and save some of that information and stuff like that for Twitch. And yeah, well, this will mostly be like a news update and let everyone know to go over to Twitch when we're done. So live in just a second.
Staying up when I go out, you gotta know I'm all yours. But when I say what's that about, you start slurring your words. Tell me why you have to seem so distant when I'm holding you. Your fingertips are drifting away, and I fucking love how it hurts. Why do I, baby, why do I love the way you always leave me? Why do I, baby, why do I love the touch but never...
Okay, let's go ahead and go live, everyone. Hope that you're doing well. We're gonna keep this to be a pretty short informational stream to make sure that everyone knows what is going on with the world of Destiny. So we're gonna go ahead and go live here. Hello, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. Thanks for all the kind wishes and stuff like that that I'm seeing in chat. Again, we'll talk about that a little bit more on Twitch. We're gonna go to Twitch as soon as I'm done doing this. I'll give you some updates on the situation that you guys may be knowing about, that I've talked about in Discord and on Twitter. Nothing major with me, but we're just going to go ahead and go through this news article first. So it's the TWAB this week. We've got This Week at Bungie. They're basically going to give us a giant overview of the Destiny content vault, because like it's been very vague in how they're going to be doing some of these things. So this is very specific, which I really do enjoy. I really do like the fact that they're like being very clear about everything. There's some new things that are going to be coming in the new expansion. So that is some stuff that I am looking forward to, some stuff that I think will be very nice for us. And there's some stuff that's kind of a little bit disappointing, but we're going to just go through it and give you all the information first. So this week at Bungie, we're sharing more details on the DCV. If you don't know what the Destiny Content Vault is, it's essentially the idea of allowing some content to retire for a small little bit, or at least go into a vault, so that they can bring a lot of new stuff into the game, because the game is obnoxiously large right now. Like they don't want it to be too crazy, too big. So as a quick refresher, when year 4 kicks off on November 10th, Io, Titan, Mars, Mercury, and Leviathan will all enter the Destiny Content Vault to make room for Cosmodrome's return and Europa's debut. Since announcing the DCV, we know that there have been a lot of questions, very true, and how game systems will evolve to reflect the more dynamic nature of Destiny 2's future. Most questions are answered by this rule: when a destination goes into the DCV, so does its PvE activities and associated rewards. And so essentially we're going to go through everything so that you guys know. And I love this. This is just so clear. This is exactly what they need to be doing. Just be like, hey, this is exactly what's going. This is exactly what's staying. So you're all in the know and you're prepared. Up first are the core repeatable activities: Gambit, Crucible, raids, and dungeons. I read that in the wrong order, but no big deal. This one is covered entirely by the standard vaulting rule. As a destination is vaulted, its strikes enter the DCV. So on Earth, you've got the strikes: Arms Dealer, Lake of Shadows. Those are all staying. Onessus, Inverted Spire, Exodus Crash, Insight Terminus, all staying. Tangled Shore, Warden of Nothing, The Hallowed Lair, Broodhold, all staying. The Dreaming City, The Corrupted Strike, is staying. Scarlet Keep on the Moon. Will of Crota is going to be coming back, so maybe the Dark Below raid, Crota's End, is going to come back. Maybe. Because if Will's Crota is coming back, I mean, there's a really good chance it could be coming back. Here are the things moving into the Destiny content vault. In other words, these are things that you're not going to be able to play anymore. You've got the Pyramidion and the Festering Core on Io. That's too bad because I actually really like the Festering Core. I just think it's a really cool play space. I think that whole idea is really cool. On Titan, we've got Savathun's Song. On Mars, we've got Strange Terrain and Will of the Thousands. On Mercury, Tree of Probabilities and a Garden World. So essentially, those 4 planets that are going, they're gone. So all those strikes that are associated with them are out. So those are the strikes. It does say here, this is very interesting, Destiny, Devil's Lair, and Fallen Saber are coming out of the vault. So that's 2 new strikes on the Cosmodrome. That's really exciting, as I want to see how they redo Fallen Saber. I've played Devil's Lair a bajillion times. I'm not really... Some people really like Sepix Prime, but I could take it or leave it. I'm excited to see how they do Fallen Saber. That's interesting to me. All right, this is one of the things that I talked about in the thumbnail and in the description. Gambit is going to be in a new mode. They're going to just call it Gambit, but it's really more Gambit Prime with some elements of normal Gambit, and they're going to try and change some things. As a reminder, Gambit and Gambit Prime will be merging into a single experience when Year 4 kicks off on November 10th. The new version of Gambit will be similar to Gambit Prime as a single round face-off with tweaked blockers, heavier mode drain, and some changes to the primeval fight. We'll give more details on these updates before the revamped mode goes live next season, which would be good. We'd like to know a little bit more. Unlike strikes and other PvE content, the Year 4 Gambit playlist selection is a best of list. In other words, they're going to be having some locations that are going to be vaulted, like say, for example, Mars and Titan. Those are going to stay maps, even though technically the fictional world is being vaulted. Those maps, because of the game space, are going to stick around. So, for example, available Gambit maps on November 10th, you will notice that these are the 4 Gambit Prime maps. The 2 maps that are specifically Gambit only are going into the DCV. We've got Emerald Coast on the EDZ, Legion's Folly on Nessus, Deep 6 on Titan, and again, that should be vaulted, but because it's part of Gambit, they're keeping it in the game. New Arcadia on Mars, and moving into the DCV is Cathedral of Stars, Dreaming City, Kel's Grave, which is on the Tangled Shore. So that's kind of unfortunate because I actually really like those 2 maps that I just think I really wish they would have redesigned them for Gambit Prime. But that's essentially what's going to be happening. This is interesting for those people who've grinded full sets of all the Gambit Prime gear. As we perform maintenance on the activity, Gambit Prime armor perks will be depreciated. We are exploring ways to rebalance and reintroduce some of those perks as armor mods in the future. Along these changes, we'll be rotating some maps into the DCV while retaining popular arenas for the mode. We don't need maps that go back into rotation. We need new maps in the rotation for Gambit, and they need to be more specific about what depreciated means. Are they just gone? Are they going to basically mean nothing? We need to know that. That's something that I hope that they address. They said they're going to address it, so it's fine. Crucible, like Gambit, is going to be a curated best of mix. Again, it will be some of the Destiny 1 and the Destiny 2 maps. And again, there might be some locations, like I already saw Javelin 4. I already saw the Burnout, are all locations that technically should be vaulted, but because they're part of PvP, not PvE, they're going to go ahead and make their way into Destiny 2 Beyond Light. So the PvP maps, and there's a lot of them, which is good. Bannerfall, Exodus Blue, Rusted Lands, Twilight Gap. Those are from the original Destiny, so they've all been updated for Destiny 2. The ones staying in are Altar of Flame, The Anomaly, The Burnout, Cauldron, Convergence, The Dead Cliffs. Really? Distant Shore, Endless Vale, The Fortress, Fragment, Javelin 4, so Javelin 4, perfect example. Midtown, Pacifica, another example. Radiant Cliffs, Widow's Court, and Wormhaven, another good example. So you can see that there's a couple of those items that are going to be staying, even though technically they are going, those locations specifically will be vaulted. Just don't read in too much to it. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I think they're supposed to be vaulted. They're coming along, and actually, to be fair, most of those maps I really do enjoy. I don't like the Dead Cliffs, and I don't know why they made that decision. Things they're getting rid of: Meltdown, Solitude, and I shouldn't say get rid of, they're being moved into the DCV. Meltdown, Solitude, Retribution, The Citadel, Emperor's Respite, Equinox, Eternity, Firebase Echo, Gambler's Ruin, Legion's Gulch, and Vostok. The only thing I'm concerned about is the fact that there's no new Crucible maps. According to this, there's no new PvP maps. That's a bad idea. Give us 3 or 4 new ones. You're getting rid of all these? Sure. Bring 3 or 4 more new ones in. As year 4 starts, we'll also be taking the opportunity to focus the Crucible experience by reducing the number of PvP playlists and modes to those that receive the most play. This will increase the matchmaking pools for the remaining playlists and make it easier to find matches with better connections. We'll have a full preview of Crucible changes coming later this season, but here's a preview of the modes that will be active and modes that will be transitioning to the DCV. So the modes that we do have are Rumble, Clash, Control, Iron Banner Control, Eliminations with Trials of Osiris, Showdown, Survival, and Mayhem Clash. The things moving into the DCV are Supremacy, Countdown, Lockdown, Breakthrough, Doubles, Momentum Control, and Scorched. It does say here that expect Momentum Control and Scorched to return from the DCV at some time during year 4. So, you know, at some point, you know, you've got to wonder how many of these are going to be coming back. When they say the vault, how many of them are going to be vaulted forever? And then how many things are going to be coming back in like year 5 or whatever? Because I mean, I don't see Supremacy or Countdown or Lockdown coming back through. Maybe doubles for special events. I just don't see these getting a lot of. I'm glad that they're not just doing the 2 playlists like they did at the beginning of Destiny 2. That's at least good. I was worried that they might like put it in like 2 little spots here, and it's like no. Keep Rumble. Rumble's great. Clash, Control, all great. Survival is what it is. So yeah. So it's interesting. They are saying expect Momentum Control and Scorch to return from the DCV at some time. In case it's not clear from the note above, the Trials of Osiris experience is not impacted by any other content moving into the DCV this year. The Lighthouse will continue to be available to those who are able to complete a flawless passage. That is interesting. So in other words, you're going to go to Mercury. So the question remains, how are they going to do this whole thing where we're kicked off all the planets, but yet we're still going to the Lighthouse? I hope they work it in somehow, so it's not just like hanging off like a weird Crucible appendage. Raids and dungeons. No dungeons will be rotating into the DCV this November, as all dungeon hosting destinations will remain active in the game during year 4. Note that the Prophecy dungeon will become temporarily unavailable for a brief period to allow our team to make a necessary technical update. Expect details on dates and times soon. We already knew about the Prophecy dungeon, so that's actually okay. So dungeons are good to go, and those are the dungeons that they consider Shattered Throne, Pit of Heresy, Prophecy. The ones that came with the new, basically that came with the new experiences, the new content drops. I hope that there's a new dungeon in the new expansion, and I hope that it's the same thing with the PvP maps. I hope that they are bringing new PvP maps. I hope that they're going to bring a new dungeon. I hope that they're going to bring some of those new things. That would be really good. Unless a Prophecy is technically the dungeon, unless somehow Prophecy plays into next year's expansion and somehow Prophecy updates. It could. That would explain the reason why it says note the Prophecy dungeon will become temporarily unavailable. So maybe something is going to change with it. We'll have to see. Like Strikes, raids follow the simple vaulting rule. We already knew about this. The new raid that's coming, Last Wish and Garden, are going to be the only 3 raids that are be coming into the game. Leviathan, Eater of Worlds, Spire of Stars, Scourge of the Past, and Crown of Sorrows are all going to hit the DCV. The real question is, are they ever going to be unvaulted? And I think the answer is no. I think that all of these are gone. And they're going to have to figure out a way to work out the different exotics and stuff like that. But again, they're going to talk about that here in a minute. Anticipating players would want to grab the coveted raid rewards, get the raid ring, things like that. Again, twitch.tv/manodester777. This is great. We also plan to bring out the Vault of Glass out of the DCV and into Destiny 2 for the first time at some point during year 4. I'm foreseeing it sometime in the spring. With November 10th being the pushback date, they're going to want to let the new raid have some room to breathe. So spring or summer, depending on how they do that. But maybe they just make November the new release date for the game. And so you shift everything over a little bit. That's definitely something they could do during the summer. That'd be a cool way to do it. All right, so here is a lot of the specific things that people were asking about. As content enters the DCV, there will be some exotic quests that can obviously be no longer completed in their original forms. I messed up some words, don't worry about it. Those quests will be retired on November 10th and incomplete progress abandoned. If you want to acquire these exotics via their original quests, do so prior to the end of Season of Arrivals. Sturm, Might of Multi-Tool, Rat King, Legend of Acurus, Sleeper Simulant, Polaris Lance, Worldline Zero, Ace of Spades, The Last Word, Lamardark, Jotun, Izanagi's Burden, Thorn, Lumina, Truth, and Bad Juju. This is an important note, though. None of these legacy exotics are being retired from Destiny 2. That's a huge thing to say. None of the legacy exotics are being retired. Their original acquisition journeys are simply entering the DCV along their supported destination and activity content. We still want new and existing players to be able to earn these legacy exotics. So starting in year 4, any exotic tied to a quest that has been vaulted will now become available through a new memorial kiosk situated among the vault kiosks in the tower. So this is a new exotic vault, and I hope that somehow it's maybe tied to the exotic cipher, because I feel like that was just like a half-handed, like, people want exotics, go. Like, I feel like it was ham-handed, and so I think that there's a better way to do it. I hope that this is a good way to do it. Maybe there are more ways to earn exotic ciphers down the road, but this exotic kiosk in the vault is actually pretty interesting, pretty darn cool. They say we'll have more information later this season on how the exotic archive works and how to earn any exotics that you don't get your hands on before year 4. So basically after this, they're like, hey, what about the catalysts for those exotic weapons that aren't available? Here's a list of the catalysts going into the DCV and will be unavailable to earn starting in year 12. You've got Ace of Spades, Black Talon, Borealis, Cerberus, Coldheart, The Colony, Crimson, Darcy, Ariana's Vow, Fighting Lion, the Fourth Horseman, Graviton, Hardlight, Jade Rabbit, Lord of Wolves, Lumina, Merciless, Might of Multi-Tool, Prometheus Lens, The Prospector, Rat King, Risk Runner, Sturm, Sunshot, Suros Regime, Sweet Business, Symmetry, Tommy's Matchbook, Tragic Cannon, Trinity Ghoul, Vigilance Wing, Wardcliff, and Witherhoard. Whew. So those are all going to be available catalysts. In other words, you're going to be able to earn them. The things that you are not going to be able to earn until they figure out a way to do it. Bad Juju, the Huckleberry. That doesn't make sense to me, but okay. Izanagi's Burden, Legend of Acurus, Polaris Lance, Skyburner's Oath, Sleeper Simulant. You'll notice that there's a little asterisk here. Telesto, little asterisk. Outbreak Perfected, little asterisk. Whisper of the Worm, little star there. Worldline Zero. So these 5, you will notice they're talking about it a little bit more. You know, if you guys need someone to help you out with your Outbreak Perfected, I know a guy. If you have these catalysts already equipped, you don't need to worry about them. In other words, it's all good. If you already have the catalysts with an asterisk, make sure you finish them, completing the necessary objective to apply it, as the objective will no longer be available at the end of Season of Arrivals. All of these catalysts will come out of the vault and be made available with new objectives if needed in a future season. I have a feeling that most of these are just going to be, I have a feeling that maybe they'll do with these 5. Maybe they'll do something with those 5, but the rest of these will just drop. I have a feeling that maybe they'll just drop in the world. That's an easy thing to do. But you didn't answer my question. This is basically like saying, hey, this is a too long, didn't read, reformat of like, hey, here's what you need to do. Here's the things that you need to be detailed on. When a destination enters the DCV, its PvE content is no longer available. They basically go through all of the details with this. Story missions and cinematics, strikes, raids, dungeons, adventures, secret missions, vendors, and associated bounties. So in other words, all the vendors are going bye-bye. Sloan, Angry Rick, Brother Vance, and who's the 4th one again? I can't remember off the top of my head, but the 4 of them are coming. We've got Titan, Sloan. I'll remember here in a minute. Oh, Anna Bray. course. So they're going to be coming over to Earth somehow. That's all going to be something that happens at the end of this season. They say that there's more surprises and stuff coming at the end of the season. I sure hope so. Because, man, Solstice of Heroes. Ugh. Anyways. So this is all the stuff that you need to know. So if there's something you need to get done, say Wayfarer, say if there's a strike you need to do, if there's a story mission you need to do, something like that, if you want to get that done for some reason, this is what you need to take care of. These are all the things you need to know about. So destination specific activities, Mercury's Forge, so any of those weapons from the Forge, Mars's escalation protocol, all those things are going. What will the new Guardians experience if the year one campaigns are going away? With some of the core year one destinations entering the vault, it's true that the free-for-all players, Red War, Curse of Osiris, and Warmind campaigns will no longer be playable. We are building a new expanded Guardian origin story on the Cosmodrome that will launch along year 4 and will be available to all Guardians to play. It is designed to introduce you to the world and mechanics of Destiny, prepare you to play the action MMO we all enjoy. The Forsaken and Shadowkeep story campaigns will still be available in year 4 for owners of these expansions. To be fair, this makes a lot of sense because essentially what they're doing is they're setting it up as there's a very basic core free-to-play element, and then you've got all the stuff stacked on top of it. You've got Forsaken, you've got Shadowkeep, you've got Beyond Light. So you'll still be able to access all the stuff from those for the most part. What's happening to Whisper and 0 Hour secret missions and their exotic rewards? Just like I thought, just like I knew it was going to happen. The Whisper is entering the vault alongside Io, and so too is 0 Hour, given the old tower was part of the Red War campaign, and which is also entering the vaults. If you didn't know, 0 Hour is literally the first mission of Destiny 2 in reverse. And instead of so essentially when you get to the elevator that you fall down, that's where you start Destiny 2. I've talked about it in my streams. That's where you start Destiny 2, except you keep going. There's essentially an elevator that you go down, that elevator shaft that you fall down, and then you do the jumping puzzle, right? That's the stuff they tacked on to the end of it. So they kept the same play space. So you need to get that. I know a guy. You know a guy. He's #1 in the world. Keep that in mind. With the Forsaken campaign, Tangled Shore, and Dreaming City sticking around after Beyond Light's launch, does that mean the other year 2 seasonal content will remain playable in year 4 too? No. The year 2 seasonal content, including Forges, Reckoning, and Menagerie, will be entering the DCV on November 10th. Be sure to experience the content and mark the final items off your collections and checklists before they are vaulted. Here's a cheat sheet of what to complete. Ada 1, Black Armory and Season of the Forge quests. Gambit Prime, Reckoning, Season of the Drifter quests. Benedict, Werner, Menagerie, and Season of Opulence quests. Pinnacle and Pursuit weapons quests. So in other words, those things that were Pinnacle weapons are also something that's going to be taken away. So notice that they do say for Pinnacles that they say these weapons will receive an alternate acquisition mode. More details to come later this season, which is good. We have no doubt that you have more questions on coming with this fall. For example, I do have some. Now that you mentioned that, I want to know more about the Gambit gear. Is it going to be totally toast? I need to know about transmog because I need to know if some of the dope gear that I really enjoy, am I going to be able to pull that out of my vault and then, transmog it? Is that something that I have to have in my collection to turn into that? That's stuff that we need to know. And we need to know either next week or the week after that. We need to know. Because right now we're at the final point. What we have, 82 days, 81 days. That seems like a lot of time, but you got to remember there's a lot of things that are going to be happening between them. A lot of people are going back to work. A lot of people are going back to school. We need to know what those transmogrification things are so that if there is a certain piece of gear that we want to have and we want to transmog it, we can do that. Okay? So make sure you check that out. Yeah. Solar, Fashion Week. We got it. Prime Gaming. More Prime Gaming rewards went live this week. If you have not already, click here to claim your rewards, and Amanda Holiday will have your new items waiting. Everyone else can sign up and link your Bungie account. If you haven't done that, you should definitely do it because it does mean that if you do any gifted subs over on Twitch for me when I am live over there, you will actually be able to get a dope emblem, some cool shaders, as well as lots of different materials, plus a new bounty that refreshes every week that gives you lots of materials. So we've got the Vespal Laser Exotic Sparrow, which is actually one of my favorites. I ran that thing a lot back in the day. We've got the standoff exotic emote, which I'm excited to get. Neon Helix shell. Actually, I might have standoff. Edge, and I already talked about Vespalazer. So check back next month and we'll have a new shipment of Prime Gaming rewards for you to pick up. They talked about the update that got pushed out today. That is the thing that if you didn't notice that Destiny updated today, it did. And what they're saying is in today's hot fix, we resolved an issue where weekly and repeatable Solstice of Heroes bounties did not grant Bright Dust rewards upon completion. Solstice bounties will now reward the following amounts of Bright Dust on completion alongside their other rewards. Weekly bounty, 200 Bright Dust. This is good. This is fantastic. If there's people who want to grind this, then they can totally do this. That's fantastic. We are currently investigating a solution for players who missed out on Bright Dust rewards from bounty completions prior to the hotfix, and will be granting Bright Dust to affected players in the near future. Sooner than later, please. You got to do it by the end of next week. With hotfix, they also resolved an issue talking about the means to the end quest to be deleted off of players, preventing them from collecting their weekly pinnacle reward. Players who still encounter issues should doobly-doobly-doo. They disabled the weekly challenge because apparently people were receiving powerful gear and it was all messed up. So they do talk about a couple of known issues. The armor glows on the magnificent Solstice armor sets and ornaments are less intense than intended. Yes, I very much noticed that. They are not that great. So I hope that they bump that up. It looks like it's barely there. Upgrading from the majestic to magnificent Solstice armor set can result in a slight power level reduction. So in other words, if you had 1060 gear, it would make it 1059. Stupid, but it essentially what it does is it essentially takes the 5 items out of your inventory and puts 5 new items back in there. So there's probably a chance that somehow in the maths that things are getting messed up. Hunter Solstice vest creates a gap at the waist of the female character model when used with certain leg armor. Didn't we already do this with Reiju's harness or whatever? I don't understand how that's not fixed, but okay. The Solstice glows on male hunters aren't aligned on the right knee. The renewed Solstice Triumph incorrectly states it unlocks after earning a majestic Solstice set when it actually requires a magnificent Solstice set. We got our movies of the week, which I'll let you guys watch if you'd like to. It's got Space Cowboys. Congratulations to all the winners. And yeah, they're basically like saying if you have more questions, make sure you know. We'll let you know and go from there. So that's it. That's everything that's going to be vaulted, everything that's going to be put away, and everything that's staying inside of Destiny 2. If I were you, the things you should be focusing on, and I'm not just saying this for me and my channel, you need to be focusing because of all the weapons that need to be taken forward, of all the weapons and all the catalysts, the things that you should be focusing on are these. This is your #1 priority right now. If you don't have these items here, these are things you should be running after. Because there's a lot of really good weapons here. Legend of Accurus, absolutely amazing. If they decide to buff linear fusions, Sleeper could become a contender again. Worldline 0, if you need the catalyst, you need to go to Escalation Protocol. I know I still don't have the catalyst done. I'm going to be making a focus to get that stuff done ASAP. This is the stuff. This is your list right here. Plus this, you gotta get these catalysts too. For example, a lot of people on my streams ask me, Mana, what is the Outbreak Perfected? What does the Whisper of the Worm catalyst even get me? It gets you a pretty darn good damage buff. And coming forward, if you're worried about weapons doing a lot of damage, granted, Outbreak was not a super powerful weapon, but what happens if you need to fight a boss at range? They nerf sniper rifles, they nerf grenade launchers, and the only thing left up there is 6 people with outbreaks. That's actually pretty darn good. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's an exotic that comes forward. You know, Whisper of the Worm, if they do ever decide to rebuff sniper rifles, that thing could be in a contender again. But they need to rebuff sniper rifles. These are your things you should be going after right now. Everything else is secondary. Okay? That's what I would do. Those are my recommendations. Yes, obviously doing the raids are important. Yes, obviously if you need to get some different things done for different triumphs, that's also important. But to be fair, most of these are not the end of the world. Most of these are just, hey, these are the locations. But this is the big thing right here. This is the big money, okay? So, with that being said, everyone, thanks so much for watching the video. I am quickly going to be transitioning over to twitch.tv/manodester777. I'm going to do a couple of runs. I'm going to talk to you about some other stuff that's going on. Obviously, people who are connecting with my Discord probably have an idea of what's going on. If you're new to the channel, thanks you so much for watching. If you need help with Outbreak and Whisper of the Worm, just the reason I was being kind of coy earlier in the video is I'm #1 in the world for doing heroic 0-hour runs. I'm #1 in the world. Not #2, not #3, #1. I run people through all the time. I am one of the best runners at doing it. If you need help with it, you need to stop at the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/manodester777, and come say hi. I'll try and get to as many people as we can. We also have an amazing Discord full of people who would like to help you, or at least have seen what I've done and have experience doing it. Okay, so make sure you come on over, say hello, twitch.tv/manodester777. If you're not subbed to this YouTube channel, if you'd like to, it would certainly be appreciated. Of course, as always, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you thought of this weekly update and the TWAB. I'm going to be putting up a fresh list of, or a fresh thumbnail so you guys know exactly what's going on. But thanks to everyone for tuning into the live stream. Love you guys. See you over on twitch.tv/manodester777. I'm going to put it up on the screen too so you can see it. I'll see y'all in just a second, okay?